Back in the United Kingdom, the king of 15 countries, King Charles III, will be crowned the King of England in less than 24 hours, with preparations heightening. Millions of people across the United Kingdom and beyond are preparing to celebrate his coronation with a symbolic ceremony that will be a combination of a religious service and pageantry. It will be held at Westminster Abbey, and the king, who will be crowned along with Camilla, the Queen Consort, will be the 40th reigning monarch crowned there since 1066. The day of splendor and formality will feature customs dating back more than 1,000 years. Meanwhile, Indigenous leaders are demanding an apology and reparations from King Charles III on the eve of King Charles' coronation. The Indigenous leaders from around the world are calling on the British monarch to apologize and make amends for what they call genocide. Let's talk now to from the United Kingdom. The former mayoral candidate names Obunge for more on the preparations ahead the coronation of King Charles III. Thank you for joining us on TVC News at 10.
It's a privilege to meet you.
Coronation process has remained largely unchanged for more than 1,000 years. And the Queen Elizabeth II's coronation in 1953 was the very first one to be televised, reportedly having an unprecedented number of viewers in the UK and outside. How popular would you say the monarchy is 70 years after the Queen's coronation? And what's the expectation this time?
I think the expectation is heightened. We have at the moment in excess of 220 nations that will be represented tomorrow. We have millions of viewers that will be, I think we have up to 200 nations that will be actually tuning in. We have millions of people here in the UK who are going to be tuning in. And as you would have seen earlier on in the news, the king came out earlier on today to meet those who are camping overnight, crowding the streets, the mall. And I think what you have is an unprecedented number of people out from all over the world who are here in the UK to be part of the event tomorrow.
Let's take a look at a few objections. Indigenous leaders around the world are now demanding an apology and a reparation from King Charles III. Is that something you expect will happen this weekend?
I don't think that would happen in that context, but I do note that when we had the abolition of slavery service at Westminster Abbey, the celebration of the abolition of slavery service, which I happened to be attended in, I was at that service. Tony Blair was there, and it's on BBC record. Her Majesty the Queen was there. There was a special service in relation to slavery and the abolition of slavery. But when it comes to what response the British government should be giving, and let's remind ourselves that whilst the king is the head of state and the monarch, there is a political dimension here, and that conversation will need to be held with the politicians here in the UK, rather than just saying the king should actively play a role in that in that response and reparations. It doesn't sit within the king's capability or be head of state. It's a political positioning that will need to be adopted by Parliament, by the Prime Minister, the House of Lords. It will need to go through a major legal process. So I don't think it's within his gift to do that.
It's hard to see how they don't mix, the monarchy and the political hierarchy that you have talked about. For instance, the UK government foots the bill for coronation. The figure from 70 years ago, they say, is equals to some $57 million today. But do you expect this cost implication to spark some level of criticism when you consider the ongoing inflation and rising cost in the UK?
You see, without a doubt, there's always been some that would question the expenditure that might be incurred in moments like this: royal weddings, funerals, and the coronation. We have not had a coronation for over 70 years, but I want you to know that the world is looking in. This is a coronation like no other. This is maybe, dare I say, maybe the biggest coronation that the world may ever know of compared to any other nation. And the royal family does something one might allude to soft diplomacy, and have the capability of attracting through the royal palaces and engagement with members of the royal family who play an active role in, should I say, attracting business into the United Kingdom. There is a role they play that brings revenue back into the UK. So one can argue that much as there's expenditure, there's also income that is brought in through the various roles members of the royal family and royal palaces play, both for tourism and, like I said, soft diplomacy. Tonight, the king who hosted over 100 leaders, world leaders, and rarely would you find such a gathering of so many world leaders in this, other than in the United Nations meetings, in the United Nations, but something like this is quite unique. So I don't think we should throw away the baby and the bathwater. I think there's something unique that's happening here in our nation, and I want to give credit to that.
Absolutely. Long live the king, right? All eyes on the UK for the historic event. Thank you so much for talking to us, Nims Obonge.
My privilege. Thank you so much for having me.